We have our 12 jurors in the Trump hush money case. So I want to share the list with you. This is at Breitbart, courtesy of NBC News. And this is such a scream, I had to pull out the corncob pipe for this one. Drum my pipe and my coffee tonight. My whiskey tobacco. So welcome back to the channel, Culture Confederacy here. It's Thursday night. Can't keep track of my days. I had to do the overnight shift the other night, Tuesday night into Wednesday. So here are the 12 jurors, and thank you again for watching, subscribing, being a part of this thing called the Culture Confederacy. You know how we do it here. This is where the past crashes with the present. But how did we get to this point? How did we get to this point where we pick jurors like this? Just wait till you hear this list. Ready? So we have a man who lives in West Harlem and works in sales. He's married, likes to do anything outdoorsy. I don't know one guy who says, I'd like to do things that are outdoorsy. You say, I like to go fishing, hunting. I know, I live in an area where people go fishing, hunting all the time. Pheasant hunting in the fall. Deer hunting in the winter. There's a man who works in investment banking, follows Twitter as well as social posts from Trump and said, quote, I don't have any beliefs that might prevent me from being fair or impartial. Okay. Young man who has lived in Chelsea for 5 years, works as an attorney in corporate law, and likes to hike and run. How many lawsuits has he run from? He gets news from the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, Wall Street Journal, and Google. He's in the know, you know. A man who's a security engineer and likes woodworking and metalworking. Ooh. A young woman who is a Harlem resident and works as a teacher. She lives with her boyfriend, loves writing, theater, and travel. She loves theater. She loves to travel. She's worldly, you see. She gets news from Google and TikTok, and listens to podcasts on relationships and pop culture. Well, aren't you the all-knowing, all-seeing eye of all things current? Of culture. Well, we talk about history, culture, preservation of art, great music here on the channel. Not tearing down everything you disagree with. There's a young woman who lives in Chelsea and works as a software engineer. She gets news from the New York Times, Google, Facebook, and TikTok. You go, girl. There's a man who lives on the Upper East Side who's also in this jury, or on the jury, and works as an attorney as a civil litigator. Enjoys spending time in the outdoors and gets his news from the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and the New York Post, and the Washington Post. Wait, no Fox News? No Breitbart? No alternative sites? Nothing here on YouTube? There's a man who's retired but worked for a major wealth manager. Let me take a sip of my coffee here. Got a frog in my throat tonight. He said he enjoys skiing, fly fishing, and yoga. Ooh, yoga. There's a woman who's a speech therapist, gets news from CNN, likes reality TV podcast. Is it really real? They call it reality TV, but most of it's scripted. Spoiler alert, most of it's scripted. A man who works in commerce, reads the New York Times, and listens to the podcast on behavioral on behavioral psychology. I'm having fun tonight, folks. One take video again. Works in commerce, reads the New York Times, and listens to podcast on behavioral psychology. Okay, I could see he could work as a juror. Get inside the mind of Trump. Do you want to get inside the mind of Trump? A woman who works as a product development manager, and all the liberals are screaming that I said that now, and watches late night news and reads Google, business, and fashion news. Ooh, she's into fashion. Can she make comments on what Trump's wearing to court? And what's with that red tie? You ever notice that Trump's always wearing a red tie? They also have a woman who is a physical therapist who likes running and tennis and listening to podcasts on sports and faith. Now, here are some of the alternate jurors. A woman who works as an asset manager, say that 5 times, and likes to run, hang out with her friends, and eat. Oh, so she's a butter hog. The 12 jurors and 1 alternate were sworn in. 5 more alternates are needed. And from what I understand, everything that I've read here, they interviewed over 200 people. It took 200 people to find 12 jurors. And now they still can't decide on these alternate jurors. 2 jurors who were seated as, according to the article here, 2 jurors who were seated on Tuesday were dismissed. One was a woman who said she, I'm reading this cold here, had concerns about her identity being revealed and those concerns potentially affecting her ability to be impartial. And the other was a man who was the prosecutor, who the prosecutors wanted dismissed. Now, Judge Merchan, I think his name's Juan Merchan, instructed reporters to stop mentioning physical appearances of jurors, specifically mentioning reports that identify one as having an Irish accent. Now, I can understand giving out the juror's name, their address, but come on, an Irish accent? I'm sure there's a lot of people in New York City that have an Irish accent. Hello? A lot of people who settled in New York were of Irish descent. Now, he was also disappointed that there was one juror who was lost who he thought would have been good for the case. And he's also asking reporters, Judge Merchan, not to identify the jurors' former or current employers. He said, quote, it's becoming a problem. 48 have been dismissed so far. 48. Early in the day. Just today, 48 were dismissed. So you mean to tell me that it took over 200 people to find 12 jurors, and in one day alone, you dismissed 48 people? Really? Folks, I'm going to make a prediction here. I'm just going to make a prediction. I think it's going to come out that either Bragg or one of these cats was involved in hush money somehow, dishing out hush money, or that possibly somebody was trying to persuade somebody on the jury. I have a feeling that's going to come out sooner or later. But I don't think they can hold water here. I don't think they're going to be able to hold water. So I thought I'd share this with you. Now, the court is supposed to resume tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And a group of 22 jurors will return to answer a screening questionnaire. And you should see some of the questions on these questionnaires. Like, what are your favorite hobbies? What do you like to eat? What does it have to do with anything? You know how you get out of jury duty, right? You go in there and say, well, the guy's here, he must have done it. That's how you get out of jury duty. So, like I said, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, you know what to do. You can also follow me on Instagram. Taking another sip of my coffee. Boy, every time I do a video, it seems like my throat bites me here. But you like the video, you know what to do. You can follow me at Instagram, #JasonComposes, because I write music in my spare time. Or you can find me at X, Culture Confederacy, at Culture Confed1 on X. This is the Culture Confederacy saying peace out, stay safe, everybody. God bless this thing called the United States. And as I said, you know how we do it here. This is where the past crashes with the present. Catch you next time. You all have a great Thursday night.